I'm finally recording this again after a couple weeks of saying that I was going to start. Um, just want to do a quick videos. I've always wanted to supplement my work as a writer. Um, oh yeah, by the way, um, my name's Tom Shaggy. I've been uh, I've been writing my whole life. It's been a lot of fun. I think the best part of it is the being able to create new, exciting worlds for people to live in. So imaginary people, but a piece of myself always goes into these characters. I've always wanted to supplement my writing with something, videos or audio commentary or just talking in general with other people. But I figured I'd start here, and yeah. I recently went and saw my buddy's movie. Please subscribe, which is by Dan Dobie. You can find him on YouTube as well. And the movie really inspired me to actually continue with this. The movie definitely showed me a lot about YouTube itself and what's possible on it. And I don't know how dedicated and hardworking that I'll be on it, but I'll definitely use it as an outlet to talk about some of my writing and then pair it with my writing on my blog. This all started when I was a kid. I must have recently seen some action movie, and the one that pops into my head is Total Recall, because I remember seeing it at my dad's house and saying, "Wow, this movie looked cool," and it was like a close-up shot of Arnold Schwarzenegger in the background. You have like Mars or whatever, and then back to Sharon Stone, and I was like, "Oh, it's cool." And he's like throwing over a desk. Um, I was just blown away by the action. It was so cool. Back then, it was 1990 or something like that, or 91, and uh, sometime thereafter, uh, reflecting back on it, we were learning about like fossil fuels and power plants and stuff, and we had taken a field trip to a recycling center, which at that time was really new. The whole concept of recycling was starting to catch on, and uh, when I got when we got back, it was time for like creative writing, and I took that concept of the field trip and being around a bunch of my friends, and then the action sequences of Total Recall and the Inescapable Dangers and all that stuff, and I took it and I made it into a story, and it was called Escape from the Power Plant, and that was my first real creation at the time was that, and of course it was very simple. It was me, and like the power plant starts exploding all around, and there's like fires, and then people are trapped, and then I am going around saving these different people and bringing them to safety, and eventually somehow stop this disaster from happening or anyone getting hurt. And it wasn't really till the next one that I really started to implement some more like creative aspects to it, and the follow up to that. Since I loved that story so much, I made Escape from the Nuclear Power Plant, and of course it happens again, and I'm there, but I'm able to save the day. But there was like a girl involved, which is kind of fun. It was as romantic as a fifth grade romance could be. Um, but That's really where the origins of my writing started, and it stopped. I really kind of fell by the wayside once I got to high school and everything. And I remember sitting at the bank one day, and I got into the bank a little too early, and I had a pad and a pen in the car with me, which is strange because I don't even know why at the time, because I wasn't writing really. And so an hour to kill before the bank opened. I was there too early, and I looked and I saw this guy walking by my car. I just watched him, and I took my pad, and as he walked away, I grabbed the pad and I said, "Man, that guy was interesting." And he was just looked like some random homeless guy. And the thing is, I don't even know if he was homeless. I just happened to deduce that from what he was wearing: old tattered jeans, a big scraggly white beard, long hair. He didn't look very well kept, and so I just wrote a story about this guy, this sad little story about how, just old and decrepit he looked, and how his life was a sad story, and it was like probably a full page, a little bit more long. It's about 250 words, and then when I got home, I typed it all out, and I added a little bit more, added a little bit of backstory in the end. But really, what blew up inside me was that um, I could create a story about someone, and I don't know, I could create a whole new identity for this person. Because it could have just been a laundry day for this guy, and maybe he wasn't homeless. Maybe he was a very well off individual, and he was just, walking because it was a semi nice day out. But instead, I created this new identity for this person, and they took on a whole new meaning for me. Um, so I really just started to discover what it was like to really create a new world for someone, happy or sad. It didn't exist before, and now it did. Something I'm still working on because it's something I want to add to. I want to fill in the holes of his life and talk about him a little bit more. Um, and then consequently, I ended up seeing this guy walking down the street a few years later, which was quite a trip. I was driving, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, as I'm driving by him, I'm like, oh my God, that's the guy that that really started my whole writing career. And at this point, I've started a novel. I actually have two in the works. One is pretty much completed, and then the other one is, I'm probably halfway there as far as content goes. Um, and it was a crazy experience, and I almost pulled over to the side of the road and shook his hand, and just to thank him, to be like, hey man, like you lit something up inside of me, and you really started a fire, and I want to thank you. And I didn't, and I regret it each and every day. But I told myself, if I do in fact see this guy, I will, for certain, pull over and thank him for everything he's done for me, because it's really changed me as a person, and how I view the world. So, I mean, that's really how writing began for me, and that's what I want this to become. This behind the words. Um, the old man and the cigarette is a once in a lifetime story that you write, that really awakens everything inside of you. And I'm sure every writer has that one that really did it for them, whether it was something they wrote when they were, just in grade school, um, or maybe something later in life. But that was truly, truly where everything began. It was the genesis of my writing. But yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to talk about next, but you can bet there's plenty more stories out there for everyone to read. My blog, you can check it out. It's thebookoftom.wordpress.com. I know it's a free WordPress, but it is there nonetheless for you to check out. You can follow me on Twitter at Tom Shaggy. It is something that updates every now and then when I update my blog. So if you don't want to just follow along on that and subscribe to that, you can just follow me on Twitter. It's awesome. Sometimes I write a funny joke every now and then, but not recently. Yeah, so I guess I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.